Yeah, what's happening? It's the big boss, Ricky Ross. And right now I gotta salute my brother, none other than Jeff Fox. Ricky Ross, M.I.A.O. We paying homage to a real nigga, DJ Jeff Fox, forever.
The Jeff Fox Radio Show.
Yo, welcome to the big house. It is once again the Jeff Fox Show right here on our very own black media entity, Rep Yo City TV. Fish and Grits.
What's up, Jeff?
What's popping, big dog? What's popping?
We just vibing. We vibing.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Another day, another dollar. That's it, man. And we came to make the people holler. Do what we came to do right here on Rep Yo City TV, man. Gonna have a great show tonight. Got a theme for the night. It's overcoming the odds. Overcoming the odds. And why are we overcoming the odds?
Yeah.
Because Chadwick Boseman overcame the odds.
He overcame the odds.
Yes. R.I.P. to the Black Panther. Chadwick
R.I.P.
Boseman. He was a gift. He was a gift from God, man.
Yeah.
You know, and I didn't know. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I didn't even watch the movie The Black Panther until this past Sunday. Kudos to ABC. They showed the entire episode.
The new.
Yep. And I didn't know what a great man he was. Not just as an actor, but his whole story inspired me. It made my weekend, man. It gave me a different outlook on life.
On life.
Yeah. At only 43 years old, this man battling cancer, colon cancer, since 2016, still managed to do blockbuster movie after blockbuster movie. All of the media work that went along with that,
Yeah.
you know, the dealing with the press and never complained. You know, and he fought until the bitter end.
Wow.
And what's so cool about it was nobody told. Like the people in his inner circle that knew, maybe his wife and some family member, nobody told his business.
Yeah, that was crazy. Right?
Yeah. Nobody told his business,
How
man.
could you keep a secret like that?
Yeah, he managed to do it because we were all shocked by the news that Chadwick Boseman passed away at the age of 43. So let's get right into it about how Chadwick Boseman became known to the world thanks to an actor
Who?
that you may already know.
Who that?
The great Denzel Washington. Here's
Yeah.
the story.
And I've basically been holding this secret my whole career.
After filming the first 2 episodes, execs of the show called me into their offices and told me how happy they were with my performance. I decided to ask them some simple questions about the background of my character. If we're around here assuming that the black characters in the show are criminals, on drugs, and deadbeat parents, then that would probably be stereotypical, wouldn't it? I left the office. I shot the episode I had come in to shoot on that day. Probably the best one I did out of the 3 because I got what was bothering me off my chest. I was let go from that job on the next day. A phone call from my agent. They decided to go another way.
And I've basically been holding this secret my whole career. When I came back, I got a beneficiary letter, and it said Denzel Washington paid for you. You know, and I was like, what?
Early on in my career, I auditioned for a part in a Broadway musical. So I start, you know, I'm going to sing. I'm like, once again, and then coming away with me. I didn't get the job. But here's the thing. I didn't quit. I didn't fall back. I walked out of there to prepare for the next audition, and the next audition, and the next audition. I prayed, and I prayed. But I continued to fail, and fail. But it didn't matter, because you know what? There's an old saying, you hang around the barbershop long enough, sooner or later you're going to get a haircut. So you will catch a break.
What'd you say to him?
He was like, well, I haven't met you yet. And I said, yeah, I got to tell you something. You know, you pay for me to go to school. He said, oh, so that's why I'm here. You owe me money.
Black Panther, I shed a tear. And the 40 years I've been in this game came back to me. I said, man, look at these young boys, man. And I actually just started, I was like, whew. You know, Sydney to now. Yeah. But it was like, man, I felt like the third leg of the relay race. Like, here, go. Yeah. Yeah. Now, I ran behind them. I'm still running. But I was like, man, they gone. You never know who you touch and where they might end up. I had no idea that, you know, it would work out this way, and look where Chad is now. And I'm glad to be in a very small way a part of it.
Imagine receiving a letter that your tuition for that summer was paid for and that your benefactor was none other than the dopest actor on the planet. There is no Black Panther without Denzel Washington. And not just because of me, but my whole cast, that generation stands on your shoulders. The daily battles won, the 1,000 territories gained, the many sacrifices you made for the culture on film sets through your career, the things you refused to compromise along the way, laid the blueprints for us to follow. And so now, let he who has watered be watered. Let he who has given be given too. It is an honor to now know you, to learn from you, and join in this work with you. May God bless you exceedingly and abundantly more in what's in store than he ever has before.
Thank you, Denzel.
Yes,
what
sir.
a great tribute from Chadwick Boseman to Denzel Washington. Denzel Washington, responsible. I mean, the great Denzel Washington. And what I love, Fish, is Denzel said it was like a relay.
Wow.
Think about this for a second. Sidney Poitier, the great Bahamian, Sidney Poitier gave Denzel, the baton. And Denzel carried it proudly. All those great films, Malcolm X included. And then Denzel passed it to Chadwick.
That's deep.
And Denzel said, just go. Just go, young man. And be great. And that's what I want people to understand about the show tonight. Overcoming the odds. Chadwick had cancer, diagnosed in 2016, and made blockbuster films still, despite having cancer.
Hot.
Because he had heart, and he wanted it, and he did it. Still found time to visit kids in hospitals and do all of the great charity work and all of the press and the media. So kudos to ABC for showing the Black Panther. I watched it Sunday night.
Okay.
The entire movie. I was blown away.
It was
I
heat.
finally get it about Wakanda. I get it.
It was heat.
Yeah, it was dope. It was dope, man, and I didn't realize so many great actors were in it. So many, Forrest Whitaker, Michael B. Jordan, so many of them. I don't want to run through them, but ABC did a nice tribute.
Nice.
Right after the broadcast of the Black Panther to Chadwick Boseman. Let's take a look at that.
It was Chadwick Boseman's performance in 42 that really made us take a second look. There is such an honor and dignity to the way that he played Jackie Robinson that we knew we needed for the character of T'Challa, the Prince of Wakanda.
Chadwick is an amazing actor and we thought would fit perfectly with the MCU.
Black Panther himself, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Chadwick Boseman.
Chadwick, he has a lot of depth. It was amazing as an audience member to look into his eyes and see what's going on.
We must find a way to look after one another as if we were one single tribe.
A lot of the things about the character are also true about Chad. He's very knowledgeable. He's an athlete, martial artist. He's had a lot of experience playing roles that come with a lot of weight. So I think he as a person, he as a guy has a lot of weight to him. I think he brings all of that stuff to the role, but not to mention that he's incredibly gifted as an actor and as a performer, and also as a storyteller in his own right.
I am not king of all people. I am king of Wakanda. And it is my responsibility to make sure our people are safe.
Because he is so prepared as an actor, and because his character is sort of flawless on set, it forced the other actors who had scenes with him to kind of raise their game and go, okay, this guy is not taking anything for granted. He's really leaving it all out there. So we have to keep up with him.
What doesn't Chadwick bring to the character? I mean, he's regal and grounded, and he brings a gravitas to it. So all of this feeds his T'Challa, and I think he wore the crown with dignity.
Ibombe! 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 Ibombe!
I've known him since I was about 17, so I've known him for a really long time. Back in New York, he did the work, obviously. I just think he did an incredible job being true to the character.
Wakanda forever!
I had a great time with Chadwick. Just warmth and camaraderie came into it, of course, with a great deal of respect for his previous work. So when I looked at him with proud eyes, they were as mother and also as comrade and colleague and Angela. It is your time to be king.
I mean, Chadwick is just a powerhouse. He's so talented. Every single movie he's made. There's kind of this internal, almost nobility.
The Black Panther has been the protector of Wakanda for generations.
He's such a soulful actor and so professional, so present. He really gives so much to the other person, and he's awesome. And his presence on set, I think, raises the stakes a little bit for everybody.
Chadwick he's a really smart, interesting, dynamic guy, and I think he was not overwhelmed, but very surprised and somewhat taken aback by the amount of love. It ceased to become just about how well he inhabited the role and all that stuff. It's become part of our culture just as a symbol.
This welcome is one of the most amazing things I've ever experienced.
It's fun to watch just what it means to people. At times, in my head, I'll be like, well, what does this do for the world? Actually, what is it? Is it actually valuable in this climate? And I have to say, yes, it actually is. Not because it makes people escape. I think when done right, it gives people hope. I found that it means a lot.
Yeah, Chadwick Boseman, man, forever our king. Black Panther forever, man.
Yes,
Black
sir.
Panther forever. Forgive me if I'm a little distracted. I was just caught up in that video, in what he said, in his situation.
Powerful.
Yeah, powerful, man. He's like the modern day Bruce Lee. He died at the top of his game.
Wow.
You know,
he put in the work while he was sick.
While he was sick. What an inspiration.
Mm-hmm.
You can do anything. You can accomplish anything. There are no excuses.
No excuses.
If there's something you want, go for it. And that's what Chadwick Boseman did. And that's how I said, you know what? I'm going to live my life like that.
Yes,
he's only 43 years old. Only 43. I'm older than him. But it doesn't matter. If there's something you want, go get it. Go get it. And that's what he did. And he inspired people. He went to hospitals to visit sick children. What a great man. I think he's a gift from God.
That's great.
A gift from God. And you know, it made me think of other people who overcame the odds, or other people who had the deck stacked against them. And still they made it.
Yep.
Still they made it. People like Viola Davis. You know, big-time actress in Hollywood. Dark skin. Dark like me.
Yeah.
You know, all the odds against her. Wow. And she made it happen. And wait till you hear her story.
Let me tell you about the time and the day that I died. I had a memory when I was 9 years old. And I remember my parents fighting in the middle of the night. My older sister, Diane, told me to go in the house or people would hear me. So I ran in the house. I ran to the bathroom screaming still, just couldn't stop, and got down on my knees and closed my eyes. I put my hands together and said, God, if you exist, if you love me, you'll take me away from this life. Now I'm gonna count to 10, and when I open my eyes, I wanna be gone. You hear me? And I opened my eyes, and I was still there.
On top of that, your father also was an alcoholic, right?
Yeah.
And he beat your mother, so you had to live with that abuse as well. What kind of a scar has that left in terms of dealing with that? What did you do as a child as you saw your father beating your mother?
The only thing I knew how to do was to just stand there and be frightened, and to go to school with that trauma, to go to school being hungry, to go to school smelling.
How did you rise out of that anger of the injustice?
Oh my God.
I don't necessarily feel like I'm out of the anger.
He left me right there, so when I gained vision and strength and forgiveness, I can remember what it means to be a child who was hungry. I could remember what it means to be in trauma. I could remember poverty, alcoholism. I could remember what it means to be a child who dreams and sees no physical manifestation of it. I could remember because I lived it. I was there. We would go to bed and hear rats killing the pigeons in the roof. I mean, loud, squealing noises. We would wrap our sheets around our necks at night because the rats would crawl through holes in the wall, and you could hear them eating our toys at night and jumping on top of our beds. I always say that I was a bedwetter until I was 14. And I did everything to get food. I've stolen for food. I've jumped in huge garbage bins with maggots for food. And I sacrificed a childhood for food and grew up in immense shame.
The one thing that I learned when I was poor, and this is something that people just need to say out loud, okay, is that you are invisible. Nobody sees you.
You know, they say that the two most important days in a person's life is the day you were born and the day you discover why you were born. I absolutely knew I wanted to be an actor because I wanted to be somebody. I wanted to dream big and make a mark somehow. What is that one element that literally helps that kid who has nothing achieve ultimate success? What is that one factor? And they always say it's one person who was a mentor. I saw Miss Cicely Tyson in the autobiography of Miss Jane Pittman, and I saw a physical manifestation of a dream. I saw something that I could put my feet on the floor when I got out of bed in the morning, and I had a passion that could drive me. Just drive, that's it. But at 28, I crashed and burned because emotionally I didn't get out. But as much as I didn't want to be my mother's daughter, I was very much my mother's daughter. I was still very much traumatized by the past. I very much was that little girl running from 8 to 9 boys who were always calling me, you black, ugly n***, you're ugly, you're black, you're this. It still very much was internalized in me, and it manifested itself through low self-esteem, through bad relationships, with not believing in myself.
How did you get out of that darkness into the light, into the dream?
2 things, okay? Number 1, there's a difference between having a goal and having a purpose. It's a vision for a future that is living a life that is heroic. The other part of it is understanding your mortality, that you have a dash of time, and what do you want to do? How do you want to run this leg of your race? Everybody in this room, I'm sure at some point, has gone through something in their lives, and you've survived it. But not only did you survive it, you took that trauma, that hurt, that revelation, or whatever it was, and you used it to connect, to give, to influence.
I have a picture of you.
Oh my God.
What message you have for that girl?
I have a message for that girl. History is not the past. It is the present. The world is broken because we're broken. Who said that all of who you are has to be good? All of who you are is who you are. How about owning it? Owning all of it. The good and the bad. Own every heroic deed and experiences, even if they were traumatic. Own it. And then you seize the sword. No one and nothing can be great unless it costs you something. The living life for something bigger than yourself is a hero's journey. You have only to follow the thread of the hero path. Your existence is an amalgamation of every triumph, every hard-won battle, and yet here you are, privileged, blessed, to do what?
Own your past. What a great, great testimony.
Incredible.
Viola Davis. Incredible.
Incredible.
I mean, how emotional is that?
Wow.
You know, I mean, in this, you know, after Chadwick Boseman did what he did at the age of 43, you know, when you get that diagnosis that nobody wants to get, that you have cancer, and he accomplished what he did in the few years he was here. And it just got me thinking, Fish, who else has done similar stories? You know, and I stumbled on the story of Viola Davis thanks to Goldcast for the video. Great job, man. I mean, talking about rats in her bed, rats eating her toys.
And she jumping
the garbage can for food.
Way maggots are.
Yeah. She overcame it, man.
Wow.
She could have quit.
That's a strong lady.
She could have quit.
Strong.
And very, you know, on point that you use that word strong. Because the next video will feature someone that's become known as the strongest man in the world.
Oh.
So good by you using the word strong, Fish.
Okay.
Because our next video features a young man who was a retired Navy SEAL.
Wow.
And you think Viola Davis And Chadwick Boseman had to go through hell, but they fought through it and they got to where they wanted to go in life. And that's the theme for tonight's show, overcoming the odds.
Overcoming.
Nobody overcame the odds more than David Goggins. Our next video of Yes You Can. Yes,
sir.
you can. Go get it. It's there for you. Go get it.
Retired Navy SEAL David Goggins is described as the toughest man on the planet.
Holding the pull-up record, 4,000 pull-ups in 17 hours.
He's also an ultra-marathon runner with more than 60 races.
Everybody thinks I'm Superman. I had to tell them the truth.
I was not always this strong guy you see.
David Goggins is the only member of the U.S. Armed Forces to ever complete SEAL training.
He beat the living hell out of me.
U.S. Army Ranger School.
I had stuff in my notebook, you know, we're going to kill you.
And Air Force Tactical Air Controller training.
That's when the real war started for me.
Athlete, speaker, soldier, and New York Times best-selling author, often referred to as the hardest motherfucker on planet Earth. Why is the truth so important?
I'm about 7, 8 years old, and I hear some ruckus outside my room as I'm getting ready to bed down for the night. And my dad is smacking the hell out of my mom and knocks her. She falls down, he grabs her by her hair and drags her down the stairs by her hair. And so at this age, I'm sitting thinking, man, you know, what the should I do, man? Like, you know, I'm scared, but then something in me saying, you gotta go and do something. So I go on the stairs and I jump on his back, and he beat the living hell out of me. And he beat me literally from my neck down to my ankles. The next morning, I was gonna go to school half the day. My mom woke up and she pulled the covers back. And when she saw how bruised I was, I'll never forget looking at her face. She was broke, like she was just broken. My mom got courage to finally leave him when I was about 8 years old. We moved to a small town in Brazil, Indiana, and that's when the real war started for me. There was about maybe 10 black families at about 10,000 people in the town. And in 1995, the KKK marched in the 4th of July parade. So me being one of the few black kids in that, in that area, it kind of haunts you. I had stuff on my notebook, we're gonna kill you. They had that on my card, we're gonna kill you. This is early 90s. And even though I showed it didn't hurt me, it was jacking me up. So all the insecurities I had when I was a kid with my father, it just got worse and worse and worse. And the shit haunted me, but I was doing nothing about it. And so my mom and I, she was gone working 3 jobs. We lived in a $7 a month place for a lot of the time. And she had a hard way to go. I kept everything from her pretty much. I felt like I was the man of the house. So I didn't want her to know anything about my life. I cheated all through school, copied from the 4th grade to my junior year in high school on every assignment. She got a letter in the mail from my high school. And I'm a junior in high school, and the letter says pretty much your son's gonna flunk out. He's missed 25% of school. But she was always gone, so I didn't went to school. She read the letter to me, she put my bed, and I broke. I broke. I couldn't imagine going back through that again. And I started finding things that was comfortable. And the more things I found comfortable, the more uncomfortable my mind was. And I gained 125 pounds in that time frame. I went from 175 to almost 300. And I started working for a job called Ecolab, where you spray for cockroaches at 24. Driving home, turned the TV on, and I was taking a shower. I walked out, heard these guys. I saw these guys going in the water, so I was terrified of it. I mean, I can't even express. And these guys ringing the bell, quitting, dropping their helmet down, rolling out. A lot of guys just leaving. And it made me reflect on my fears, my insecurities. And I saw real men, what I thought were real men who were staying, who were overcoming adversity, who were overcoming all these different things that I had blamed so many fucking people in my life, my dad, my learning disability, my skin color, me being everything. And so I sat there for a while and I was like, no one's gonna fucking come to help me. No one's gonna fucking come to help me. It's fucking me against me, period. And I said, the first thing I gotta start doing is facing every fucking fear I have. At this point, I actually drive back to Buffalo, New York to see my dad. Haven't seen him in years because I realize now I gotta fix some shit. I'm blaming everything. But I need to go back to the root of the problem, which is my dad. I gotta face the demon. I gotta go back and see what made him so fucked up to make me so fucked up. Why am I fucked up? And I go back as an older man now. I'm in my 20s. I'm not a kid anymore. And I realized he was the same man that he was. I looked at him in a way, we never said sorry to one another. And he went off about my mom and my grandparents and all kind of shit. But I looked at him in a way that I realize now why you fucked this up. Somewhere in your fucking life, something fucked you up. And you didn't deal with it. And so you put that shit on me, my mom, and everybody around you. I'm gonna deal with my shit. You gave me this. I'm gonna fix it though. I go home, several months go by. What it was, I was obsessed with Rocky. When I was a kid, I'd come home every day and I would fast forward with the little VHS tapes to round 14. When Apollo Creed beat the fucking shit out of Rocky, beat the shit out of him, he kept fighting. He was a dumb fighter. That was me. Couldn't read, couldn't write. Apollo beat the shit out of him. He was in that corner and everybody was saying, stay the down. And him getting up, Apollo Creed raised his arms up in the fucking air, turned around, thought he won the fight. He turns around and sees this guy getting up, and it was the face of Apollo Creed that changed my life. The face of Apollo Creed. It was like, just by that motherfucker getting up, not winning, just by him getting the up, Rocky had taken his soul. His head goes down, he looks at him like, what the fuck are you? But it said, this motherfucker is gonna keep coming after whatever the fuck is in front of him. I want it to be that. I wanted to feel something besides defeat. I wanted to just go the distance. I wanted that worse than anything in the world. And now I'm like, okay, here we go. It's time to be a Navy SEAL. Hell Week is 130 hours of continuous training. You might get 2 hours of sleep. And what it does is, it's designed to break a man. If you only fix the surface, you will never get through Hell Week. We're all, a lot of us are going through a hard time in life. Some people have been bullied, some people are just stressed out, some people are insecure. And the world puts a lot of this shit in your mind. It's not just you. I had to develop a mindset that was indestructible. I had to armor plate my mind. It's about what you're saying to yourself, but it also comes with work. We have a factory, a nice governor in our brain, and it's a survival mechanism. It protects us from pain and suffering. The second we feel that shit, our mind says, oh no, this isn't fun. We should back off. We should sit down, find something more comfortable. It knows what you're afraid of. It knows your insecurities. It knows your deep, dark lies. And it starts to push you away from that shit. It pushes you in a direction that is comfortable. This is the time where you have to gain control back of your mind. I had to build calluses in my brain the same way I built calluses on my hands. The only way I can turn around is put myself through the worst things possible a human being can ever endure. And that'd be the only way that I can build this brain to handle anything that comes in front of it.
Retired Navy SEAL David Goggins is described as the toughest man on the planet.
You're the only member of the U.S. Armed Forces to have completed Navy SEAL training, U.S. Army Ranger School, and Air Force Tactical Air Controller training, and you've competed in more than 60 ultra-marathons, triathlons, and ultra-triathlons, and breaking the world record for 4,030 pull-ups in just 17 hours. Why is the truth so important?
I had to tell him where I came from, to give people hope that, wow, that's where he came from, and now he's there. I'd like to take my mom up here, who who never picked me up, when I fell. She taught me how to get up when I was knocked down. Go into the pain of your life and say, why did this suck for me so bad? Why am I afraid of all this stuff? Why have I shut down the whole world What makes you afraid of it? Study it. Because at times of hell, even the hardest men, we forget how hard we really are. Suffering is the true test of life. You face it every day. You face it every single day of your life. The only way you're ever going to get to the other side of this journey is you have got to suffer to grow. But a lot of us die never truly starting our journey.
Man, you fall down 7 times, get up 8.
Wow.
What a great story.
That is inspiration.
David Goggins. Overcoming the Odds, ladies and gentlemen. Chadwick Boseman. Viola Davis. David Goggins. Overcoming the Odds. Right here on the Jeff Fox Show. And I hope whatever it is that you want to do, whatever it is that your heart desires, that you learn from these great people, man, that you can do anything.
Jeff, you putting on a great show tonight.
Thank you, man.
Great show.
Thank you. I was inspired, bro. I was inspired by Chadwick Boseman, really, his story. And it touched me, man. And I've got dreams that we all do, that we want to do. And we think we can't do it, but actually we can. Tell yourself. Make yourself believe it.
We
can. Yeah.
Yes, we can.
Just like that.
Barack?
Yeah.
Barack said that.
Yep.
Yes,
we can. And let's look around the country today. Let's look at what's going on in Kenosha, Wisconsin.
Yeah.
You know, what's going on in Ferguson, Missouri. Sanford, Florida. All these places where all of these African Americans, Louisville, Kentucky, all these black people lost their lives.
For sure.
Our country's separated right now by hate, by division.
Yeah.
By our leader, the President of the United States, who just isn't cooperating and trying to bring people together. And every time you go on social media, there's white people fighting black people. There's somebody in Walmart that doesn't want to wear a mask. It's just bullshit, everywhere. And then on top of that, you have the pandemic.
Yeah.
You can't go to work. You can't pay your bills. People are frustrated.
2020 is a thing to remember.
It is. And we've lost so many great people. It's just depression all around.
Of course.
So all of this is having to wear on the shoulders of black people in America. Like our next video, Robert Horry, 7 NBA championships.
Yeah.
7 world championships. Won a couple of them. Gives a couple with the Spurs, with the Rockets. One of the greatest winners of all time. Even Robert Horry, when he looks at his son, has to warn his son about when you go out in public, you might encounter a law enforcement officer.
Sad.
And he's worried, just like I was. The minute Trayvon Martin happened, when George Zimmerman got away with murder, I said, wow.
Wow.
They really don't give a fuck about none of us.
Wow.
They don't care. And what about my son?
Yeah.
My 16-year-old son, my world.
Wow.
I had to have the talk with him.
Yeah.
The same talk that Robert Horry is going to tell you that he had to have with his son and his grandson. Listen.
Well, yesterday, I was sitting there and I started crying. And my wife walks in. She's like, are you crying because you turned 50 today? And I started laughing. I'm like, no. I said, did you see the video of this guy getting shot? And first, I saw it. I'm looking at it. I thought, well, maybe they're going to tase him, right? Because that's what they do with white people. They tase them. And so I didn't have the volume up. And then Christian walks in the room. He says, no, Dad, they shot him. So I play it again. I'm like, wow. They shoot this guy 7 times in the back. And then I have this conversation with Christian. And he's like, that's wrong, that's wrong. I said, yo, it is beyond wrong. It's just flat out evil. And I'm telling him, and it's hard to tell your 14-year-old son that I worry about him when he walks out that door. I have a 21-year-old son. I worry about him because black men are endangered species, pretty much. these cops are just killing because they feel like if they don't have their body cams on, they have a right. And I tell my kids all the time, I said, dude, I don't care what's going on because at the end of the day, I want you coming home to me. If you have to lay down on the ground and they can kick you, beat you, at least you're gonna go to the hospital and you're gonna come home to me. Don't, whatever they say to you, don't take it upon yourself to let that rage you have against that cop come out because he has the gun. He can end you. And I don't want him to end you because if he ends you, that means I'm going to end him.
Robert Ori.
That's how I feel, Fish. You know, and I'm not condoning violence. You know, you don't want to do that.
Yeah.
But that's the speech. That's what I have to tell my son and other black men in America have to tell their sons. Whether you're rich or poor, doesn't matter. If you're black, you have to have the talk with your sons, with your daughters, on how to act around law enforcement. Because apparently, there might be two justice systems in America, as civil rights attorney Benjamin Crump frequently says.
Yeah.
I've seen videos, man. White people just doing stuff, some of the wildest stuff. F you, you dumb mother. I mean, just taking a policeman's car, stuff that if you were black, you would have been shot a long time ago. Remarkable patience.
Yes, sir.
When the suspect is white. But when they're black, when they have color, they blast quickly.
Quick.
Trigger happy, very quickly. That's what's wrong with the country. I watched a show earlier today with Senator Chris Murphy.
Yeah.
Was on MSNBC. And he was talking about how the man in the White House doesn't get it. We're going to get to him momentarily. And, you know, I'm posting all of this stuff, right, Fish? I'm posting all this stuff.
Okay.
And some of my white friends are just getting at me. Jeff, you're posting all this hateful stuff. What's wrong with you? I'm not hateful.
Yeah.
I want you guys to understand what black people go through. The reality that we live in. That's all. I don't hate you. If you're black, you're my friend. You're my friend.
Yeah.
Some white people get it, and some don't. Nick Wright from Fox Sports is someone who gets it.
Welcome to Same Spit, Different Face podcast. Well, my opinions is facts, and if you don't like my opinions, you can start your own podcast. It is free, so don't forget to click the like button, the subscribe button, and the notification bell. Also, my Cash App and Hip Hop Artist of the Week in the description.
Part of it, and now to the white people part of it. Listen to my fellow white people. For as long as we have been a country, black people have begged us to listen, that they are treated a different way by the police. And for the better part of 400 years, or since black folks have pseudo had their freedom the last 160 years, for the better part of the last 150, we've ignored them because there wasn't proof, there wasn't evidence. And then every single American got one of these. And we saw not only were our black brothers and sisters not lying to us, they hadn't even expressed quite how bad it was. And shamefully and embarrassingly, in large part, our response, instead of apologizing, asking for forgiveness, and asking how we can be a better part of the solution, our response as the people in power, the majority as white people, was to move the goalposts or to muddy the waters. Well, what did you do? Why didn't you comply? Well, what was going on before the video started? And it is always the responsibility of those in power to affect change. If we want policing in this country to change, we as white people have to be at the forefront of this movement because we know they can. Because we saw just a month ago when, in large part, white people in certain states were upset because damn tanning salons and barbershops weren't open. And when they stormed state capitals armed to the teeth, we saw the police in that instance show immense restraint, great restraint, and the restraint that every American deserves to be shown by the police under the protections of the Constitution. So we know it's possible, and we must demand the same for all Americans. And I beg of you, for all of us white people, to stop acting like there is a way for black people to demand their full rights as American citizens that will be accepted by the majority. Take a knee in silent protest, become one of the most hated men in America and lose your career. Throw a fist up at the Olympics, become two of the most hated men in America and lose your career. Be the greatest man America has ever produced, lead a nonviolent movement to change the world. Be killed on a balcony in Memphis before you hit age 40. And speaking of Martin Luther King, one other thing to my fellow white people. I understand for many of us, last thing we learned about MLK was in junior high school, Black History Month, and I Have a Dream speech. Please quit quoting the same 2 or 3 lines from that speech as if that is all that man was. If you would like a Martin Luther King quote, I've got one. It actually came while he was in jail for, oddly enough, peacefully protesting. The quote was about who the biggest stumbling block to black people's freedom and rights are in this country. And he said it was not the open racist. It was not the Ku Klux Klan. It was white people who are, quote, more devoted to order than to justice, who prefer a negative peace, which is the absence of tension, to a positive peace, which is the presence of justice, who constantly says, I agree with you in the goal you seek, but I cannot agree with your methods of direct action. That sound eerily familiar to anybody right now? So listen, folks, it's time we got to pick a side. And the side isn't black or white. The side is right or wrong. And if you want to be on the right side of not only this, but of history, if you are in a position of power or influence, or you are in the majority, then you must not do it simply through a few fist emojis and Instagram likes. You must put your money, your power, your influence, your platform where your mouth is. Or else you can set your watch to it. We're going to be right back here sooner than we think, talking about the exact same issues that brought us to this precipice this weekend, Jenna.
You know what, Fish? When Nick made that comment, that was around the time of the George Floyd murder.
Wow.
And guess what?
What?
We're right back.
Right back.
Right back. Same thing. Kenosha, Wisconsin happened. Jacob Blake happened. Black man shot in the back 7 times.
Shot.
In the back 7 times. Meanwhile, a white 17-year-old is armed with an AR-15. And the President of the United States finds sympathy for this kid after he killed 2 people.
That's crazy, right?
After he killed 2 people. The President's, well, he was fearful for his life, and,
45.
Our divider-in-chief.
Divider-in-chief?
Yes, that's what I like.
You got the right name.
Yeah. Senator Chris Murphy was on MSNBC, wrote a book about the violence in this country, and he had a few words about our president as well. Take a listen.
Member of the Foreign Relations Committee, Democratic Senator Chris Murphy of Connecticut. He's author of the new book, The Violence Inside Us, a brief history of an ongoing American tragedy.
Senator, thank you so much for being with us. I just got to ask you what your thoughts are about the president yesterday in a press conference and then again last night, comparing the shooting of a black man by police 7 times in the back to a golfer choking on a 3-foot putt. First of all, it's extraordinarily offensive, I am sure, to the family of the black man shot in the back 7 times, as well as to other people of color across America. Also, I would guess this one also manages to deeply offend police unions and the rank and file in police, suggesting that life or death decisions are as easy as sinking a 3-foot putt.
I mean, listen, you saw the contrast in this campaign. Yesterday, the president of the United States unwilling to condemn violence, no matter who commits it, and Joe Biden standing up and condemning the use of violence, whether it's by supporters of the president or by folks that are out there protesting the president. I thought Joe Biden was also very effective in reminding people that violent crime came down by remarkable levels during the Obama-Biden presidency. And what we've seen over the course of this year is a dramatic spike in violence. What I think is important also is that, as you mentioned, voters tend to like to rally around their leaders during moments of crisis. But what Americans know is that this crisis, these twin crises, are caused by the president, right? We shouldn't still have epidemic levels of coronavirus in this country. It should have been gone by now. And he is, in fact, stoking the violence. He is creating more chances for people to get hurt, like those in Kenosha. And so people don't give the president credit for addressing the crisis because they know that he, in fact, is the cause of the crisis.
And again, I want to get to your book, but also he sounded like he was a member of the Klan riding around in the late 1800s, early 1900s, when he talked about trying to keep poor housing, low-income Americans out of suburbs because, and this is the Klan part, because of the women. He talked about, basically said, we can't trust that our white women will be protected, is in effect his entire suggestion. Again, so retrograde. And Donald Trump is so oblivious to the realities of 2020 that he actually thinks by saying that he's going to pick up votes in the suburbs among suburban women. And all he's really doing is just making them run away from his candidacy even more.
Right. Listen, America has this long history of vigilante justice, and I tell that story in this book, which is really a history of American violence in many ways. But we aren't the America of the 1920s. While there are still people who want to think of themselves as vigilantes, increasingly that vision of America makes more and more people uncomfortable, in particular swing voters. And so what the president is trying to do by refusing to condemn this young man in Wisconsin is to kind of give a wink and a nod to others who are thinking about doing the same things, right? He's trying to send a message of encouragement to other young men who might bring an AR-15 to another protest so that he can get more violence, more unrest, more chaos, which he thinks is going to help him politically. I think he's fundamentally wrong about that. But what he is right about is that America has this long history of white people taking taking sort of law and order into their own hands at the expense of communities of color.
All right, let's go to Casey Hunt. She's got a question for you. Casey?
Senator, good morning. It's good to see you. Let's talk a little bit more about your book, because this obviously what we've been seeing on the streets of Wisconsin, what happened with this 17-year-old boy is part of a larger story that has different threads and, you know, in many ways was focused with the tragedy that was in your home state of Newtown. So can you walk us through, you know, what we learn in the context of your book and what you learned pulling it together?
Sure. I mean, this book is really the result of the last 7 years of my life. My life was changed in 2012, and over the course of the last 7 years, I've tried to learn everything I can about why America is such a violent place and what we do about it. And this book, it's not a memoir. It's really a story about how we got to this moment. And, it's called The Violence Inside Us because the conclusion I come to is that America is a violent place. We have always been a violent place. We've been bathed in violence from the time that the American settlers exterminated Native American tribes. But what we have chosen to do is to pour kerosene on a smoldering fire in this nation by allowing these very dangerous weapons to flow throughout the nation, creating more opportunities for ordinary arguments to turn into deadly moments. And so if you want to understand why we've gotten to a place today in which there is so much violence in this nation, whether it be homicides, civil unrest, suicides, this book will tell you why we got here. But it also gives a prescription for a path forward. And it does start with just decreasing the number of weapons that are in the hands of wrong people and making sure that 17-year-old kids can't so easily get their hands on a deadly weapon like an AR-15 to bring to a protest rally in a different state.
The new book is The Violence Inside Us, a brief history of an ongoing American tragedy.
Yeah, 17-year-olds cannot get an AR-15 to go to a rally, a protest. He went there to kill.
Yeah, of course.
You take an AR-15 to a protest, you're looking to kill somebody.
And he walked by.
And he just walked by the police. I mean, again, the travesty that is the American justice system.
They showing it.
They're showing it shamelessly.
It's two justice departments.
Yeah, one for black folks, one for white folks.
That's what it is.
And it's embarrassing, And remember when George Floyd happened? Protests all around the world, everywhere. In almost every American city.
Yeah.
And one such city is Portland, Oregon, where they continue to protest and where the president, instead of trying to calm the people, bring the people together, has condemned the Portland mayor as being weak, as being, whatever Democratic city it is, he goes after them.
Yeah.
It doesn't always have to be about politics. Bring the people together.
I don't think you want them together.
But he doesn't want to do that. And he came for the Portland mayor. The Portland mayor fires back.
President Trump, for 4 years, we've had to live with you and your racist attacks on black people. We learned early about your sexist attitudes towards women. We've had to endure clips of you mocking a disabled man. We've had to listen to your anti-democratic attacks on journalists. We've read your tweets slamming private citizens to the point of receiving death threats. And we've listened to your attacks on immigrants. We've listened to you label Mexicans rapists. We've heard you say that John McCain wasn't a hero because he was a prisoner of war. And now you're attacking Democratic mayors and the very institutions of democracy that have served this nation well since its founding. Do you seriously wonder, Mr. President, why this is the first time in decades that America has seen this level of violence? It's you who have created the hate and the division. It's you who have not found a way to say the names of black people killed by police officers, even as people in law enforcement have. And it's you who claimed that white supremacists are good people. Your campaign of fear is as anti-democratic as anything you've done to create hate and vitriol in our beautiful country. You've tried to divide us more than any other figure in modern history. And now you want me to stop the violence that you helped create. What America needs is for you to be stopped so that we can come back together as one America, while recognizing that we must demand that all people, black, brown, white, every color, from every political persuasion, pull together and hold all people accountable in stopping racism and violence, and we together are peaceful again under new leadership that reflects who we really are, we the people of this great nation. President Trump, you bring no peace. You bring no respect to our democracy. You, Mr. President, need to do your job as the leader of this nation. And I, Mr. President, will do my job as the mayor of this city. As the President of the United States and somebody who has been perpetrating divisive and hateful language for 4 years, for him to now stand here and say that it's unexpected and act as though he's shocked is appalling to me. We all saw this coming. And as I said, I've stood at this podium I don't know how many times and have said that we must denounce the violence, that we must work together, that we must accurately address what's going on around systematic injustices in our community here in Portland and hold ourselves accountable for what's happening here in Portland. But the president has a role to play in this as well, in acknowledging and understanding those systematic injustices nationally. And the tweets that he has been putting out in the last 48 hours, attacking Democratic mayors, attacking those who are trying to bring resolution to the violence in their local communities. He has an opportunity to uplift us and bring us together and help us move through this difficult situation in our nation's history, and instead, he chooses to play petty politics and divide us. That's my reaction. So I'm going to...
Wow. That is powerful stuff.
Powerful.
Powerful. Coming out of Portland, Oregon.
Powerful.
As the mayor fires back at the president of the United States. Let's have some fun, man. You know what it is? Let's have some fun. Let's raise some money. All right? We're going to play the Cash App dance, our favorite part of the show. And we would like for you to support us because, again, this show is funded by you. All right? Right here, the Jeff Fox Show. Rep Yo City TV. Hit us up on the Cash App with a donation. Whatever you wish, I'll leave that entirely up to you. $. And, of course, it is Radio Host, the #1. $, Radio Host, the #1. There it is. Let's do the Cash App dance. Come on, everybody. What is that move? It was like a bow and arrow that she was doing. Man, I am looking for that young lady. I need to find her, man, because I want to put a couple dollars in her pocket. Because just to show her love, man, her energy is contagious. Thank you for the Cash App dance. Thank you, everybody that's been donating to the show, supporting the show. We appreciate everything, every penny, because the dollars do go a long way to what we do right here at the Jeff Fox Show. Let's go to our Miami Heat fans. How did you enjoy yesterday? The Miami Heat.
In the bubble.
Yes, sir. In the bubble, made a strong statement, knocked off the Milwaukee Bucks 115-104. Miami grabs a 1-0 series lead. And you know what, Fish?
What?
The Butler did it. Let's go to the highlights. Miami Heat against the Milwaukee Bucks. And it is all about Jimmy Buckets.
And for the teams that are going to be here into the finals, talking about into October, Butler, vicious.
Jimmy Butler to the rim for the dunk.
So George Hill now with 7, his first three-pointer of the night for the Bucks. Butler taking on contact and a chance at 3 for the Heat.
And then again into the paint and draw the foul, which he does so you can finish that play.
Butler, the little hesitation. Boy, that was a thing of beauty by Butler. He's got 27 points.
Strength to finish. Jimmy Butler, little hesitation move. Hits the floater over the top.
Last basket by Middleton, his first points, by the way, since the 8-minute mark of the third quarter. Butler sizes him up and hits.
And there's 40 in the paint. Success out of timeouts, getting the ball to Adebayo and getting cuts.
Butler, deep 3, and he buries it. What a night for points since. 6 to shoot. Butler sizes up Hill, and he hits again. He is putting Miami on his.
Jimmy Butler just going one-on-one and getting it up over the top of a smaller defender. Huge bucket. He's going to just play this possession straight. No traps, no fouls. Just try to get a stop. There's still a lot of time.
Butler again. He has been magnificent. Butler tying his career playoff high with 36 points. Just away from a triple-double. That's the furthest thing from his mind here is Butler inside, and he just keeps on coming.
What a game for Jimmy Buckets. 40 points. He joins LeBron James and Dwayne Wade as the only Miami Heat players to ever score 40 points or more in a playoff game. Quite a feat for the Miami Heat. They lead the Milwaukee Bucks 1-0 in that Eastern Conference playoff series. And Game 3 will be on Wednesday. And I got to tell you, man, I like the Heat in this series. Even though Milwaukee has the best player in the Greek Freak, Giannis Antetokounmpo.
The Kupo.
Yeah, well, whatever it is. My son can say it. I can't say it. But he's the MVP. But, man, the Miami Heat brought it yesterday, and the Butler did it. You know what? I called my friend Stephen A. Smith from ESPN after the game. I texted him, and I told him, I said, hey, them Dade County Goons, bruh, watch out. Told him the Butler did it. And you know what he did?
What?
He went on ESPN's First Take this morning, and he talked about the game, and you know what he said?
What he said?
The Butler did it.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's your dog.
That's my dog, Stephen A. Man, appreciate that, Stephen A. Showing some love. In other NBA action, Boston beat Toronto earlier, 102-99. Boston is up 2-0 in that series. I see it coming, Fish. Boston, Miami,
crashing.
They're headed towards a collision, and it won't be easy for either one of them.
Okay.
Because Toronto and Milwaukee, who met in the Eastern Conference Finals a year ago, are going to be a tough out. Don't get too happy, Heat fans. There's only 1-0. You got to win 4 of them.
Yes.
So they got to get it done right there. Speaking of winning, who did more winning than Venus and Serena Williams?
Wow.
Yeah. Nike did this great tribute to the young ladies, the Williams sisters, all the Grand Slams, all the major championships they won. Let's take a quick look at that Nike commercial with the Williams sisters.
Ever since we were little girls, you've compared us to each other. My game versus her game. My ranking versus her ranking. My titles versus her titles. My Grand Slams versus her Grand Slams. It's funny. You saw 2 tennis players trying to win a game. We saw 2 sisters changing it.
You can't stop sport, and you can't stop the Williams sisters. All the way.
On fire.
Yeah, from Compton, California. Man. Wow. Again, it kind of goes with the theme of the show, right?
Yeah.
Don't let nobody tell you that you can't do anything. You can do whatever you want.
Whatever you want in life.
Imagine this. 2 black girls growing up in Compton, California, go on to become world champion tennis players. Who would have thunk it?
Nobody.
Nobody. You can do whatever you want, man. So
We
kudos.
need Jay-Z them. You remember that song? You know I can be whatever I want to be.
Yeah. By Nas.
We need more. We need more from the hip hop community.
Right. Positive messages.
Positive messages.
Shout out to Black Man Music Group right out here in Dade County.
Shout out.
Definitely was here on the Jeff Fox Show and contributed to that as well with their new joint that's out there.
Okay.
So appreciate those guys as well. Check them out, Black Man Music Group. And G. Savage with my man Ronnie V.O.P., the new song.
Yeah, that's a nice one.
Yeah. We play right here on Rep Yo City TV. Fish, you know what's back this weekend?
What that is?
Power.
Oh.
Power on Stars, and I cannot wait. I mean, I get it. They killed Ghost on Power, those of you that are familiar with the show. They killed Kanan, which is 50 Cent's character. But it doesn't end. They got so many different episodes coming on. Mary J. Blige is in it. Method Man's in it. Let's take a look at the trailer for Power. Starts this Sunday, September 6th on Stars. Power is my favorite TV show, probably ever. You know, and they killed my man Ghost off the last episode, and I still can't get over that. But I'll be watching this weekend on the Stars network. You know, I forgot when we were doing all the RIPs at the top of the show. I mentioned Black Panther.
Yeah.
Chadwick Boseman passed away. Also, longtime Arizona head coach Lute Olson.
Okay.
You know, won many championships with Arizona as far as conference titles. I do believe Lute, not sure if he won a national championship. I think he did with Miles Simon and Sean Elliott as well. Cliff Robinson, also formerly of the Portland Trailblazers, passed away at 53.
Wow.
Played against the great Michael Jordan in the NBA Finals. Made lots of NBA Conference Finals for the Trailblazers. It was almost like it was a weekend of death.
Wow.
You know, and the great John Thompson, Georgetown University, Hoya Paranoia, Patrick Ewing, Dikembe Mutombo, Alonzo Mourning, Allen Iverson.
What happened?
Sleepy Floyd. He coached them all.
I know that.
At Georgetown. And you know what else he did? 97% of his students and his ball players graduated.
Great.
He wasn't just a coach.
Great.
He was a teacher as well. The first crew from ESPN joins us in remembering the great John Thompson. Yeah. All right, there is Max Kellerman and, of course, Michael Wilbon, along with Stephen A. Smith from ESPN's First Take, remembering the great John Thompson. You remember him, Fish?
Yeah.
With the towel over his shoulder?
Man, he put in work.
Ah, man, he was like a father figure for all of us boys in the hood, man. I remember growing up rocking the Georgetown
You
gear.
know what? I'm just thinking, right?
Yeah.
Man, 2020 was a hard year, man.
Yeah.
And you got to remember, Chris Tucker said it.
Mm-hmm.
Twin. You forgot about that, huh?
I remember that.
Yeah. And sometimes you say things out your mouth.
Yeah.
You don't even recognize. Right now, it's really happened. The 2020 twin.
Yeah, 2020 twin, man. It's been a rough year. Rest in peace, John Thompson. Also, Cliff Robinson, Lute Olson, and the Black Panther, Chadwick Boseman. I can't believe it, but you inspired us all.
Yes.
And it's been a great show here tonight on the Jeff Fox Show on Rep Your City TV. How about last night, Fish? The versus Monica and Brandy going at it. Over 1 million
down
people.
1.2 million.
Watching Kamala Harris up in there.
Yeah.
Michelle Obama up in there. Probably everybody you know, every celebrity you know. It was epic.
Real epic.
It was epic. I watched some of it. I was going back and forth between the basketball game And we have a mix that we're going to take us home with by DJ Chalet. DJ Chalet is going to do a mix with hits from Monica and Brandy. Just as we salute them for their record-breaking performance on Versus last night. All right, so we're going to get to that. Thank you, sir, for a great job here on the Jeff Fox Show. This has been a great show. Very inspirational.
Great show.
Thank you, everybody, for watching, and we'll see you again next week.
So gone over you. Silly of me, devoted so much time to find you unfaithful, boy. I nearly lost my mind. Drive past your house every night in an unmarked car, wondering what she had on me to make you break my heart. Yeah, me feel I'm so gone, so you make me feel. Oh, and I love you, baby. Seems like the first day that we met, there is no one else I think of more than you. Can't seem to forget, can't get you out my head. Guess the verdict's in, I'm crazy over you. How can one be down? Tell me where to start, 'cause every time you smile, I feel tremble in my heart. I have a lot concern. I cannot live with you till my day comes. Here's what I'm gonna do. You see nothing I do, everything about you. I must confess, I'm obsessed for you. You see nothing I do, everything about you. Just come back. Here we are face to face. Very back although we need each other, things have changed. It's not the same. Sometimes it makes me wonder, where would I be if you hadn't discovered, which I did, inside of me? I know there was something that we could compare. Well, I've never meant to cause you no pain. I just wanna go back to being the same. Well, I only wanna make things right before you walk out my life. I would like to get to know if I could be the kind of girl that you could be down for. 'Cause when I look at you, I feel something tell me that you're the kind of guy that I should make a move on. And if I don't let you know, then I won't be for real. I could be wrong, but I feel like something could be going on. The more I see you, the more that it becomes so true. There ain't no other for me, it's only you. I wanna be down with what you're going through. I wanna be down. I wanna be down with you. Down with you. Oh, day it's true. I wanna be down. Just one of them days. Don't take it personal. Just wanna be
DJ Chalet.
I know it always feels like I'm doing you
chalet.
Yeah, what's happening? It's the big boss, Ricky Ross. And right now I gotta salute my brother, none other than Jeff Fox. Ricky Ross, M.I.A.O. We paying homage to a real nigga, DJ Jeff Fox, forever.
The Jeff Fox Radio Show.